Hi, everyone, and welcome to the LSP Method podcast. I'm your host, Michael Fern, and today I've got another special guest. I'm looking forward to this one. Every guest I have seems to be miles away, but that's because I live in Australia. And today we have David. David's all the way over in the Netherlands. Hi, David. How you going?
Hi, good morning, Michael, and morning for me.
Yeah,
Afternoon
night for me.
here.
I know. It's time zones are wonderful. I love your background as well. We'll get into who you are in a minute, but I love that you've got like the minifigure, the LSP Academy, a whole bunch of stuff in the background, which we'll talk about. It must have been a few years ago now. I'm trying to think how long ago it was. It was definitely quite a few years ago that Dave and I met,
Yeah,
and over Lego Serious Play, and David's gone through and got certified, and he's even now part of the partner program in the LSP method. So he's out there training, certifying people in the Lego Serious Play method in the Netherlands. I have the fortune of occasionally beaming into one of his courses and saying hi to everyone, and they all seem super happy, David. I love
yeah,
it. It
yeah,
sounds like you do a good course.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm going to throw over to David, as I do with most of my guests. I'm going to throw over to you, David, to tell us who you are, where you're from, and also I got you to build that model, that tower with you in it. So I'll throw over to you. Welcome again.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. It's my first podcast in my whole
Awesome.
life, so it's
Awesome.
great.
Yeah, I love it.
Since 2018, I'm a freelance trainer and coach, and I did already use some Lego in my trainings, but
Mm.
after reading your book, we got in contact.
Mm.
So yeah, I have the tower here with
Oh
me.
yeah, yeah. Let me put you on the big screen so we can see it. There you go. Go for it.
Yes, here it is. I have a good fundament. I have a family, two kids, a dog, and with my wife, we live in Utrecht, of Bunnik, near Utrecht. So this is my fundament. But I'm always looking for different things and other things to see if it can be more fun, we can do it better. So that's why I'm turning around. Sometimes the difficult for me is that I have to focus, so I have to stop. But then my thoughts go up, and then I'm always thinking about new things or how I can combine things or mix things up. So as my in my trainings, I do use a lot of Lego, but also a lot of other games. That's what the people need in my groups, and I'm there for them to help them or to guide them. I'm the guide, not the hero. That's something I always say, to guide them to the solution. And that's also something I'm always looking for the things in history, what went well, and how we can make that better and bigger to grow to another world. And that's the difference in my appreciation, I think, because a lot of people go back and think, what did we do wrong? How can we do it better? But I think if you go back and think, what did we do well, and how can we make that better, then the other things will also grow. So that's my solution focus approach. And I use a lot of color because I think it has to be fun, not the gray corporates, but work can be fun, life can be fun. And that's why I use blue, orange, green, and yellow. But that's also a meaning of the my motivation insights colors. So green is for working together with people. That's what I love. Yellow is to analyze things and to understand things. That's also what I love. You can see the books here. I'm a really a book junkie. I call myself. Read a lot of books. And orange stands for results. So if you want to get results, you have to work. Orange is competition, get results, do things. So that's also my colors of my profile. So that's why I use them.
Love it. Oh, thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you for
yeah.
that, David. So many things in there. I love that model. Um, I love that you said about, the guide, not the hero. And I'm sure some people have heard that before, but I know many of them haven't, where it's that ability as a facilitator to guide and not
Yeah,
be center stage. Like the heroes are the people, in your audience. They're the ones that
yeah,
are
yeah,
the
yeah,
heroes of their story. So I love
yeah.
you. I love you mentioning
Yeah,
that.
well, the best feedback I had for that was you're a lazy facilitator. And then I was, huh? Why? Why is that? Because I only ask questions when it needs to be, and
Yeah.
then I keep it into the groups.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I
as
love
a
it.
facilitator, I want to be as lazy as possible because then it starts in the group.
Yeah.
Only when it got stuck, then I'm the guide, and then I will ask a question to guide them to another world or to another
Yeah.
point of view.
Yeah, I love that. It's funny you say
Yeah,
lazy facilitator because I sometimes have said that about myself at certain points. I'm like, maybe I'm lazy, maybe I sometimes say this in my training. I'm like, am I lazy? Am I just efficient? But I like the way you've done it. Like, although I like the way you've framed it, where you talk
yeah,
about being lazy because you only go in when you need to be that guide.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love it. One of the things from your model that I really loved, you talked about mixing things up and you use other tools as well, which I'm sure we'll get into a little later on, some of the other tools. But I think that's one of the keys that I've been really thinking about to creativity and innovation. It's the mixing up of things. It's the different tools, the different techniques. It's
Yeah.
you also mentioned about going into the past and what we did well. And to me, that was reminiscent of I'm not sure if you've heard of this particular thing in English. It's called the appreciative inquiry model, which is a tool set, which is exactly what you described, which is
Yeah,
going
yeah,
into
yeah.
the past, what
I've
does
got the
well.
book.
Yeah, yeah, of course you've got, it's probably like in the background there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And that's the thing,
yeah,
like I love what you said there because I think too many times in organizations, we think back to what went wrong and how to fix and
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
it's the metaphors are diagnosing problems and it's
Yeah, yeah. I always
great.
use the metaphor of digging a hole. When you dig a hole, we go search for the problem.
Yeah.
But and which goes out, you put it next to you, and so that's also getting bigger.
Ah,
So
yeah,
the
yeah.
way to how deeper you dig, the way to the solution also gets higher. So you have to go over that hill. So why do you need to why do you need the problem?
Yeah. I like
Why do you
that.
need the problem to find the solution?
Yeah.
That's my
I
part.
like I like that metaphor of like you keep digging deeper, and this is what happens with a lot of teams and organizations is they just keep digging and digging and digging, like you said. And the more you dig, the more stuff that comes out, which is the mountain you need to climb over. That's such a great
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
metaphor
yeah.
for
Yeah,
what people do.
the digging costs you a lot of energy, so
Yeah, yeah,
the
it's
energy
tiring.
also
Yeah.
drains down. And so if you then we find all the problems, we have a big mountain, but the
You got to,
energy is gone.
yeah, it's like you got to climb the mountain, and that's it. That's takes a lot of energy as well. That's such a
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah,
It's almost like multiple metaphors in one. But yeah, that's great. I love that. So yeah, I
yeah,
loved all those things you mentioned about, you know, taking things that have worked well in the past, bringing them forward, using different tools. It's a very positive, forward, future approach, but also it gives a nod to the past, but a nod to what worked well, not what didn't work well.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
and I must say, I do a bit of that in my sessions when I do client sessions. Not so much different tools, but definitely the that appreciative inquiry sort of style.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I love that. So yeah,
yeah.
it's and just one last thing on your books, all those books. I know you're a bookophile or whatever you want to call book obsessive because you've even been like translating my book into
Yeah.
Dutch, which is just
Yeah.
amazing. Like you, where do you find the time to do all these
Yeah.
things?
Yeah, well, it's not finished yet.
No, well, no, it's like it's a big thing.
And everybody says, well, use Google Translate or AI, but then it's not you don't get the right translation. So it's
Yeah,
better with just two screens and then type. But it costs a lot of time.
yeah,
But I think it's worth it and it's fun for me to do. So I love to
yeah,
do it.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So I mentioned in the intro as well that you're a partner on the LSP method, and you've been, it's a couple of years now, you've been training and certifying people in Lego Serious Play, and obviously been using Lego Serious Play. So maybe I was going to ask you a question around the Netherlands and the Dutch, and what's your feeling around them and Lego Serious Play in terms of, do they really both for your client work, but also for your training and certifying? How is it
yeah.
seen out in the Netherlands, Lego Serious Play?
Well, I think it's now right now it's seen as a good method to
Hmm.
have fun with your team, but also come to the core. In Dutch, always say it's not team building or when then you go out and go bowling or do the fun
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
with you. But this is you connect with each other.
Mm,
Everybody has the same voice on the table, so
mm.
that connection resists, or how do you say, comes around when you play, or when we play with Lego, we
Yeah,
build, but
yeah.
you also come quicker to the core. So
Mm.
you're talking about something. It's not just the fun day with good food, but you're also going to the core and get something out of the method. In 2 or 4 hours, you can set up the strategy for example, technical department, or
Yeah.
how to do project management. I did with a company in one day. We just did it with the whole company.
Mm.
We made a project management tool for them,
Yeah.
and that's the power of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good point. It sounds like in the Netherlands it's in a similar spot where Australia is at, where it's like, many clients come to me saying, similar things, team building. And, that's sort of almost like many people's entry point into it. They've sort of heard of this thing. And, some people hear it in a more technical, they understand the method more and they know more about it and they know that it's
Yeah, yeah.
beyond that. But a lot of people come to me and they're like, oh, we need something a bit different. And I've heard about Lego Serious Play. And it's funny, I think early on in my career, and I still think a lot of people like LSP facilitators now, they sort of not look down on team building, but they're like, oh no, that's not what the method is about. I used to be like that. No, no, it's not team building. Like, I don't want to do that. But what I've learned is exactly what you sort of said there, which is that's a great entry point for people. But then it's our job to educate them and to help them understand that it is so much more. And so I always take
Yeah.
the jobs where people say, "Hey, look, we need something that's a bit more team building." And I'm saying, "Great, but it can do
Mhm.
much more. This." And when you're sitting down with the client and you're designing a session and you're thinking about the objectives, you thought it was just going to be this team building.
Building.
But
Yeah.
yeah, we're going to get this done. Like you said, we're going to get this done. We're going to get to the core of something. It's going to have all these benefits. And I actually think I'm really open to almost doing Lego Series Play in any context because I look at it as an opportunity to change people's mind about
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
possible
yeah,
with
yeah,
it, which
yeah,
which
yeah.
sounds like it's your approach too.
Yeah, yeah, and sometimes you also always have some people who got in resistance or that don't know
Yeah.
play with the Lego. That's for children.
Yeah.
But the more fun is it to get them into the flow and get them things done during the training, and you see
Yeah.
that the jackets goes off and they go and build, and everybody is is on it on
Yeah.
board. Yeah,
That's it. You see the magic, don't you? It's like I really
yeah,
enjoy some of those people that are a bit at the start, sort of crossing the arms, or they're, maybe not so much into it because it's a kid's toy. I actually really enjoy when those people come into the room because I know, and like you do it enough and you see the magic sort of happen.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And they're going to turn around and yeah, like I said, jackets off, sleeves up, and they just get in flow, and it's almost
yeah,
like they can't
yeah,
help it. And I
yeah.
don't have a giggle to myself, but I'm like, internally, I'm like, I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
And that's where the magic happens, I think, because then
yeah,
really everybody is on board, and then
yeah,
you can build together and make get things done. That's
yeah, yeah.
I think you're right.
And I think it's subtle as well. Like, every team has those people that are a bit more, maybe they've been there a long time, or they're a bit more set in their ways, or there's always those people in the team. And I think too, when they see them getting into it and in flow and sharing stories, everyone's like, it's this subtle thing where it's like, oh my God, even that person's getting into it. Like, and they
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
it's so
yeah,
good. Um,
yeah.
so you do a lot of obviously Lego Series Play, client work, and around certifying and training others. What are some of the other
Yeah.
tools you use? Like you talked about playful and color from your model. What are some of the other tools you use? And yeah, just give
Well,
us a
I
rundown
use
on that.
my motivation insights. That's a test where you can set up your how do you say in English? I have to find my word. Your drives.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
can find your drives. That's what I use in individual coaching.
yeah.
And
Cool.
then you get it's some sort of framework where people can see what drives them. So if you're result driven or want to work together, if you're
Yeah,
structured, like it's so that's one thing tool I
Yeah.
work with in coaching.
Cool.
And I also visualize, so I draw a lot. That's
Ah, yeah, yeah, that's
where I
right.
started with my other company, Schets Inzicht. Then
Yeah.
I give training in how to visualize, for example, your strategy or your project or your processes.
Mm.
But I also combined it with Lego.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. Wow. Like
Yeah,
sketchnoting or visualizing plus Lego.
yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. That's what I do. I give training, and last week I've delivered a big drawing for on a wall for a company.
Wow, cool.
From
That's super cool.
yeah, that's my first big drawing,
Yeah.
and I also use boxing in my
Oh, really?
individual coaching. So
Awesome.
I have a lot of creative and other stuff than the normal trainer or coach does. Yeah,
Yeah, wow. Well, you said in your model as well, you're just around fun and having, it should be different. It should be different colors. It should be fun. And some of those
yeah,
tools
yeah.
sound pretty amazing. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and
Um,
I get a lot of people think in boxes. Like I'm at work, I'm at school, I'm at my family. Family, I
yeah,
have fun. At work, I'm serious. At sports,
yeah,
I'm still driven. But I think there's a line in between it. It can be
yeah,
all.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
what I do. I'm busy at the football club in the Netherlands. I
uh,
train my children and their teams, but I'm
yeah.
also commissioned for the youth. So I'm combined there all to have fun for me and to get energy out of everything.
Wow. Where do you find the
Yeah,
time? Where do you find
yeah,
the time, David?
yeah,
Amazing. With two young kids as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Now I got you to do a second model as well, which is a little bit about what the industry is not talking enough about. Now, I don't know what industry you framed it as, but yeah, show us your second model and talk us through
Yeah,
that.
that's a nice bridge because I was already talking about the boxes.
Yeah.
And
No,
I
it worked
think
well.
a lot of things right now are gray and black, and we go to work and we don't. We want to go and we want to have another job. Last time I read an article about uh, one of the four people wants to change jobs because they don't have fun at their job. So right now I'm thinking about this is the model. Yeah, we go to our job and we do our things, and yeah, we don't get energy out of it. We just do it to pay for the house, to pay for the family. And I think, yeah, well, in the weekends we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of colors. So why don't we combine those two and make things work more fun? Put it like this. So why can't we combine fun, colorful, give energy to each other, and also get results done because we are there for something. We want to do something. We want to get something out of our lives. But why don't combine it? And why don't we have fun and colorful lives also at our jobs, also at our family, also at our spare free time? So that's
Yeah,
why.
love it. I love it. And I love your use of color, David. Like one of the things I'm always passionate about in my Lego series play is people using color. And you obviously, obviously know the method well in terms of
Yeah.
your use of color. But you're right. It's
Yeah.
like, it really is this sort of separation. And
Yeah.
why, I'm sure there's historical reasons for it, where the work week came from and, you
Yeah.
know, how it had to be serious and, not playful and it was work and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you
And
can
then we
understand
have to be
historically.
at we have
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
8:30 and at 5 o'clock we stop. Well,
yeah,
if I want to go and have a walk with the dog at 8:30, then and I don't have trainings or or appointments, then I go and have a walk with the dog. If I want to
yeah,
stop at 4, then I stop at 4. But if I
yeah,
9 o'clock in the evening, I've got a big idea, then I
yeah.
laptop and do my thing. So the boxes,
They
the
blur.
boxes
It
are there in
blurs.
my head, but not time frames.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm similar in terms of, I think for me, part of it is family. Part of it is I want, I've got young kids like you, and so you want to see more of that and live more life. But
Yeah.
that's it. Like, creative ideas, energy, passion, all those things aren't bound to a 9 to 5 job. So I
Yeah.
often, sometimes on the weekend, I'll be like, you know, it's like on the weekend, I had there was a birthday party that my daughter's friend. So it was like, they were going off to the birthday party, but I was just like, oh, I'm just I'm really energized to do some work. And so it's like my wife took them off to, go to the party, and I was at home on a Sunday just like madly like working away.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but
yeah,
then today, but then today on a Monday, I'm like, I took my 3.5-year-old and we went and did some other stuff. So it's like this flow is different. It's not so
yeah,
regimented. It's not
yeah,
so
yeah.
stuck.
And
Yeah.
it gives you energy. So why not?
Yeah. And I think
Uh,
I think all those things around work and what gives you energy, and for a lot of people, like you said, from that first bit of the model, they're paying for the house, they're paying for the kids' school fees, they're paying for life, and not everyone
yeah.
seems to find that energy and passion of, say, the businesses that we've created, and,
Hmm.
and and for various reasons, like in facilitation and coaching, it sort of lends itself to that, but then other jobs perhaps not. But the reason I'm bringing all this up or going further with it is, lots of AI stuff is floating around these days, and people
Yeah.
need to be over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years need to be thinking about, what is work? And, I'm just imagining these people, coming to work one day and, their jobs are just, they're done. Like, and I'm like, what are they
Yeah,
going to do? Like,
yeah.
maybe then they've got a whole bunch of free time. So I guess I feel like there's going to be, not all at once, but in pockets, there's going to be this sort of crisis of meaning for people. And
Mhm.
some of that stuff's going to fall away. I just saw
Yeah,
like this latest event, Tesla with the robots and, serving drinks and all. I'm just like, oh my God, like there's going to be
yeah.
so many people that are going to need to really soul search about what they've been doing for, 5 days out of seven. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
so,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's I always say you're talking about soul searching. So we keep I always sometimes I say it's fun keep the soul alive. That's
yeah,
but
I like that.
if you search, everybody has that soul, everybody has that passion.
Yeah,
So if you search for the talent of yourself, then you can search for how can I combine that with work, with my in my free time, with my kids. Yeah, that's
yeah,
what gives you energy.
yeah. And I think
I
now's
don't. I've
probably,
learned for this, so I have to do this from 8 or from 9 to 5. I have to do this because that's
yeah.
what I've learned. But no, that's
Yeah.
not how it works.
Yeah.
What
It's how
gives
it's
you
worked in
energy?
the past, but it's not
Yeah,
how it's going
yeah,
to work now and into the
no,
future.
no,
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think now is a good time to be thinking about that if anyone is. Because, it's interesting, David, as well. You might get a bit of this, but I guess some people that come to certification with Lego Serious Play, and some of them are internal. Some of them are external, as in like they've run their own business or they're consulting already, but some of them are internal to
yeah,
organizations. And some of them are, they've got a longer look sort of ahead a few years thinking, I'd like to get a few of these tools to then maybe start my own business or go part-time and consult and things like that. And I think now's a good time to start thinking about those things because of the coming, there's always change, but I think there's going to be even more change to do with work,
yeah, yeah,
work practices and things like that. And I think, I think the pandemic and what happened there with everyone working from home, that sort of kicked things off, but then the AI stuff's just going to ramp it up. And,
yeah,
and it's interesting thinking about that with, what does that mean for Lego Serious Play as well? And, personally, I think as an analog tool, it's going to be, needed even more and more. That human connection, that
mhm,
analog, that getting together in groups and things like
yeah, yeah,
that. But yeah, there's lots of change coming up, which, Lego Series Play is good at. So
yeah,
it's
yeah. Lego Series plays the right to for it.
it is around change. Yeah, getting people talking
Yeah,
about change and future and what's happening.
yeah, yeah,
Um, as we move towards the end of the podcast, I'm thinking, you obviously train people in Lego Series Play. So whether there's someone who's listening to this that might be interested in it, or someone, I know you did some certifications recently who's sort of just learnt it. Have you got any tips for the sort of the new starter or even the experienced person? Like any tips at all or any insights for Lego Serious Play people out there?
yeah, yeah. Well, start doing it. That's what I
Yeah,
always
yeah,
say.
yeah, just
Feel
start.
comfort, feel comfortable, and start doing it with. If you're not comfortable enough, start doing it with friends or give your
Yeah.
first sessions and try how it works. If you're standing, facilitate the group.
Mm,
And also the preparation, because I always say that if you do the preparation perfect, you know which challenges to tackle, which questions to ask,
yeah.
then the flow will starts at the session. So if your
Yeah.
session is 2 hours, the preparation could be 4 or 8 hours. But if you
Yeah.
have a good preparation, then the flow will exist in the session, and then
Yeah.
it will always works. Then the magic will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's such a good point. Like, I mean, it is akin to sort of a performance, whether it's a sports performance or like a singer or some sort of musician or whatever. It's like, you do all the work beforehand. And then
Yeah,
when
yeah,
it comes to the actual time, you want it to just roll off the tongue. You just want it to be
yeah, yeah,
smooth. You want it to, I guess that's perhaps why I like facilitation so much is because I guess unlike say with a musician or a singer or something who sort of knows what's going to happen, like they've got control. We as
yeah,
facilitators
yeah,
sort of, yeah, we've got a little bit of control in parts, but we also there's a big gray area of, oh God, what's going to happen? Like you could ask
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
question and who knows what's going to come out. And I think that's
yeah,
why we
yeah,
love it.
yeah,
It's the
yeah. And
unknown.
then I'll always say trust the process,
Yeah.
but also be flexible. So if you have a program or a planning, don't sit too much on the time because the process
Yeah.
happens in the group. You're the guide, not the
Yeah.
hero. Guide them to and give them time to process things, and that
Yeah.
could the skills building could take more time.
Yeah.
But then the more time you make them comfortable to feel and to play with the Lego, the better
Mm.
the flow will work in the next challenge or the next question.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
also take
That's
your time for just get people on board into the process.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
important. It is important to spend that time up front. And I think you're also saying about that sort of adaptability as a facilitator, as that guide is,
yeah, yeah,
and I guess that's the skill, isn't it? That's the skill of facilitation. It's you go
yeah,
into a room and you got a plan or you got an idea or you've got a structure or a process, but then you see how you're like it's almost like in moment to moment, you're seeing how is it going to how I thought it was? Is it going better?
yeah,
Is it going off in a better direction? And it's
yeah, yeah, yeah,
adjusting your
yeah,
style. And I guess that's the art. It's almost like you've got the science and the process and the magic, but then there's this art of reading the room. And I think that's why we found it so hard on Zoom facilitating during the
yeah,
pandemic, because it's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
all
yeah,
our
yeah, yeah,
skills were like, oh, but I can judge what's happening over here, and I get a feeling for the
yeah.
room. And in Zoom, you're just like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, yeah, and the feeling of the room, but also the feeling of the people.
Hmm.
Is everybody there? Is everybody open to get into the flow? And
Yeah.
then I love it to get to make that magic happen in the room.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah,
isn't it? And I
yeah,
love it. I remember coming back from the pandemic and those first few times where it's that feeling of being back in the room, and then you sort of you see that one person, and it's like, oh, are they struggling, or are they? It's like there's something happening over there or over here, and you're keeping an eye on it, but then you don't want to let that sort of interrupt the whole flow of the group. So yeah. This is why we love facilitation, and
yeah,
I've
yeah,
found
yeah,
I've found Lego Series players like one of the best, I guess, supports for me. And this is another thing that with Lego Series Play, a lot of people come and they're like, "Well, I'm not a facilitator or I'm not a trainer. Like, can I do Lego Series Play?" And I always say to people that it's a very supportive method, as in like there is structure. You know this as you teach it. Like there is structure
yeah.
which can support the less experienced sort of facilitator. But
Mhm.
then there's depth to it, as in like, it's almost like that chess thing. It's like you can start playing, but to become really, really good at it, it's knowing all the skills, it's knowing all the years you've spent doing it. And I feel like Lego
Yeah,
Series
yeah,
Play is the same thing. It's like a moment to pick it up, but it's like a lifetime to master. And
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Ah, I love chatting with you, David. We could chat forever.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Um, it's just, I was going to say, where can people follow along with you? So is LinkedIn the best place? Website? How do people
Yeah,
get hold of you?
LinkedIn. I'm not from. I'm 44, so I'm not really from the Instagram and TikTok.
Me neither.
But I'm very busy on LinkedIn, so they can find me
Great.
on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
David Witte.
Yeah.
And lspacademy.nl is where they can find my website and upcoming trainings.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, I love it. Hey, just one last question, just to throw it to you unannounced. What about the future for you? Like, you've talked about some of the stuff you've been doing, but what about the future for you, the future for Lego Series Play? What do you see in these next few years?
Yeah, well, I always say our goal is that every meeting starts with a bag of Lego on the table. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's the mission, and I think we're together in it.
Yeah, love that.
So I want to make it more open for a lot of people so they can experience and use it for every different kind of problem solving or answering questions.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's one goal. But I also want to make work more fun and more fun driven and
yeah,
also result driven. So combine the fun and the results together, whether with Lego, visualizing, boxing, and a lot of other stuff. That's
yeah.
where I want to go.
Love it. Love it. And it's funny, it doesn't need to be mutually exclusive. Like you said, it doesn't have to be just fun or just results. It's like we know from what we do, it's like those two go together. As in
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
fun and play unlocks a lot of those results that
yeah,
people want but can't do because they're stuck in a non-playful, non-fun environment. Well,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I was looking forward to seeing, where you go, but I'll know where you go because I keep in touch with you all the time.
yeah,
But
yeah.
maybe we'll get you back on the podcast in 6, 12 months and yeah, we can talk more Lego Serious Play, other things. But follow along David on LinkedIn. He's posting some great stuff, both in the Netherlands, but also if you're outside of the Netherlands, keep an eye on what David's doing because I love his approach with Lego Serious Play and all the other tools. Awesome.
Yes,
Thank you, David, and thanks everyone out there. And yeah, we got more episodes, more people of Lego Serious Play coming, and I think I might dive into some other topics soon as well. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next podcast.